In the last episode, we learned a lot about Azure Virtual Machines. What are different types and series of Azure Virtual Machines? But very few people know about this less talked Azure Virtual Machine, and that is Azure Virtual Desktop. Hello and welcome back to the Tech Blackboard. In today's episode, we will be finishing the section 2.2.2, and today we are going to deep dive on Azure Virtual Desktop. Towards the end of this video, I will also give you details on Azure certification, which is just for Azure Virtual Desktop. I guess this clearly tells you about the importance of this service and how much Microsoft is focusing on this one. So watch the video very carefully till the end. Also friends, the next episode is going to be very interesting as we will be learning loads on resources that are required for virtual machines. So please do not miss to subscribe to the channel and make sure to press that bell icon so that your learning on Microsoft Azure never stops. But for now, let's begin with the definition for Azure Virtual Desktop. And as per Microsoft, Azure Virtual Desktop is a desktop and application virtualization service that runs on the cloud. It enables you to use cloud-hosted version of Windows from any location. Azure Virtual Desktop works across devices and operating system and works with the apps that you can use to access remote desktop on the most modern browsers. And here, my friends, a very important point to keep in mind that Azure Virtual Desktop is just like any other virtual machine, and I will give you more details on this in just a while. Let's now take a deep dive on Azure Virtual Desktop concept. First, let's take a step back and understand the basics first. And for that, before even learning about Azure Virtual Desktop, I think I will first tell you what is VDI or Virtual Desktop Infrastructure. So VDI is the hosting of desktop environments on a central server. It's a form of desktop virtualization as the specific desktop images run within virtual machines and are delivered to the end clients over the network. Now friends, I guess many of you have already worked and used VDI, especially during these COVID pandemic times, where the entire workforce has been working from home. So the most obvious solution to work remotely has been enabling the VDIs for the entire workforce. So once again, I will summarize. Virtual Desktop Infrastructure or VDI is a desktop virtualization technology wherein an operating system like Microsoft Windows runs and is managed in a data center. Now this virtual desktop image, as the name says, it's virtual, is delivered over a network to an endpoint device which allows the user to interact with the operating system and its application as if they were running locally. Normally, the endpoints are traditional PC or laptop, which are generally thin client devices or a mobile device. Now that you understand the basics of VDI, let's revisit the concept of Azure Virtual Desktop. It's a desktop asset service offering from Microsoft that runs in Azure. It is a virtual desktop platform for delivering virtual desktop and apps from the Azure public cloud. And you know what friends, it was earlier known as Windows Virtual Desktop prior to a name change that took place in June of 2021. Now let's check out some of the features of Azure Virtual Desktop. The first one says that Azure Virtual Desktop takes advantage of Azure exclusive features like Windows 10 Enterprise Multi-Session, and that allows multiple users to connect to a single Windows 10 virtual machine, concurrently providing a similar user experience. Secondly, Azure Virtual Desktop is a great replacement for desktop virtualization. In other words, it is a replacement for VDIs. And the beauty of Azure Virtual Desktop is that it works with Windows seamlessly, well of course, but it also works with macOS, iOS and Android. And very importantly, HTML5 is supported, enabling you to access the remote desktop from all the modern browsers. Now let's understand what can you do with Azure Virtual Desktops. So here on top of the documentation, Microsoft says deploy and scale your virtualized Windows desktop and apps on Azure. And if you scroll just a little, you will reach here, which will tell you what exactly can you do with Azure Virtual Desktop. It tells you deploy Windows 10 or Windows Server desktop and apps, publish full desktop or individual remote apps for as many host pool as you need using your own image or by choosing images from Azure Marketplace. Then secondly, you can also migrate your existing virtualized desktop and apps to Azure. Take advantage of flexibility and scalability of Azure by migrating your existing Windows Server or Windows 10 or 7 images to cloud. And of course, spend more time on desktop and apps and less time on infrastructure. Here it says simplify management of your virtualized desktop and apps environment by connecting your virtual machines to Azure Virtual Desktop. Link to this documentation is right there in the description box and in the pinned comment. Please come here, read more about Azure Virtual Desktop as it's a very important services these days when we all are talking about work from home. And I also think that it's not just work from home. These days, multinational companies span across so many countries and the workforce itself is so scattered, and in order to reap the benefits of global talent, Azure Virtual Desktop is one service to keep an eye on and do a specialized certificate and get a career boost. More on certification is coming up in next few slides. And friends, now that we understand the Azure Virtual Desktop, the concept, and we also understand its features, it's now the time to understand the benefits of the same. So the first benefit is that it enables the central management and security. Second one is that Azure Virtual Desktop, due to that, you have less IT management overhead as now the major overhead is now taken care by Microsoft. The third benefit is that Azure Virtual Desktop separates the operating system, data and apps from the local hardware, basically running them on a separate remote server. This brings more data security as now your data is not on your physical device, but instead it is on a remote machine. And last but not the least, Microsoft Azure Virtual Desktop has revolutionized the desktop virtualization and has a clear advantage over the locally provisioned desktops. And friends, as against the locally provisioned desktop, Azure Virtual Desktop can be quickly provisioned in just a matter of minutes. You get a remote desktop infrastructure from Microsoft that you will need to manage virtualized desktop at a scale. In the last episode, I showed you all the types and series of Azure virtual machines. The good part is that you can use any of these types to spin a Azure Virtual Desktop. And in case you are more interested to learn about all these series and types, please watch our previous parts. The links are shared in the description box. And now, my friends, let's check out important information on the certification part. There is a specialty certification from Microsoft on Azure Virtual Desktop, and that is called exam AZ-140 or AZ-140. So, are you already keen to know more about this certification? This is the Microsoft documentation on AZ-140, configuring and operating Microsoft Azure Virtual Desktop. Here it says that the candidates for this exam are server or desktop administrator with subject matter expertise in designing, implementing, managing, and maintaining Microsoft Azure Virtual Desktop experiences and remote apps for any device. You can check all the details on this certification. Here you can also see what is the exact fee of this certification. You can also check some of the study materials. The skill measured is also given here. You can see all the skill measured here along with the percentages. And here you can also check out how can you prepare for this examination. You have two ways. You have one which is online and free. The other one is instructor led, which is the paid way. And here you can find all the details on this AZ-140 certification. So that was all for today. Today we focused on Azure Virtual Desktop, compared it with the conventional VDI concept, and then I gave you the information on features and benefits of Azure Virtual Desktop. And also, please do not miss to check out the certification details. It's a great course. Probably I will also try to create a question and answer format on this certification as well. But for now, I hope you liked this power-packed episode on Azure Virtual Desktop. If yes, please show your appreciation by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I will see you in the next video. Till then, stay fit, keep learning, and thanks for watching.
If this video has added any value in your learning, a like and subscribe is highly appreciated. Share this video in your family and friends to spread and expand their learning. Your comments and feedback give me a chance to interact with you, and I look forward for them. We will meet again in our next video. Till then, stay fit, keep learning, and thanks for watching.